So you've logged on to the Matrix MLS and think, now what? Let's talk about how to run a property search the right way without missing out on the perfect listing or drowning in irrelevant results. It's one of those skills every agent thinks that they've mastered until a client asks for a house with a fenced in yard in Forsyth County under $400,000. And then you realize that your search results are giving you condos in High Point. So here's a fast focused version on how to search on the Matrix step by step. So you've logged in and here we are. How do we search for homes? Guess what? It's that big search button right here. We've got a couple different options that we can search from, whether it's residential, vacant land, multifamily, commercial. Cross properties is everything across the board, and public records would tell you what tax card information, stuff like that is. So we're going to go to residential quick because that's the easiest one to do. As you can see right here in these statuses, this is something that I've set up on my own because I look at a lot of properties for a lot of CMAs. So instead, we are going to take away this closed property because we don't want to be sending people properties that are closed. Other thing that you can do is depending on what you want to search for is you can add additional fields. So all these other fields down here, you can add in to your search to make life a little bit easier and they'll move up. How do you do that, you ask? Well, guess what? You do click right here and then we can add in all the other fields. These are the ones that I have right now. So I can remove anything that I want. So let's just say I don't want this anymore. I'm going to hit remove. So now that's not gonna be on there. Sales price, things like that. Like I said, I do a lot of different CMAs for people, so it's nice to be able to see. All right, so I'm in here, and let's just say that we've got somebody who wants to live in, let's just say Greensboro. All right, they want to live in Greensboro. So we put in Greensboro, North Carolina right here. The problem about doing a search this way is that there's a lot of different little areas that are around Greensboro that would fit the bill for somebody, but it doesn't actually show up because they're in a small town or something like that, or somebody was just lazy and put the wrong information in. So I'm going to show you how to fix that here in just a second. So our criteria, it's going to be a $500,000. As you can see, I have the zeros clicked right here. What this does means that I can just go like this and it adds the zeros in there. If I didn't have this clicked right here, I'm gonna have to go like that and do a minus because I want to be less than $500,000. If I wanted to be more than $500,000, I would do the plus. If I wanted to be in between a range, I would do a dash and then just say $750,000. And see, I can't see all those. So now a lot of times you'll see people do this and they'll hit the results and look, there's no results. Why? Because you have the zeros added in. So we're at $500,000. There's one house that is exactly $500,000. And then now we have 831 houses in Greensboro City that fits what we need. Now, let's go over here. The exact same thing works with bedrooms and baths. What I'm going to tell you is whenever you're talking to a client, don't ask just bedrooms and baths. Ask what they're using them for because sometimes it might be an office space. Or if you're in the country, there might be a lot of properties that aren't the right number of bedrooms and baths. And so it might be something that you need to not be so particular on because it might be for septic for two bathrooms, but there's two bedrooms. I guess it's septic for two bedrooms, but they've got another room that they use that has a closet because we can't advertise it legally as a three bedroom. So let's just say that we want at least three bedrooms. We got to have three bedrooms plus. All right. So now we've went to 654 listings because a lot of times what an agent's going to do when they first get started is they're going to do three bedrooms and two baths, two full baths. So my number has dropped down to 167 matches on this. Now watch what happens if I go three plus. I'm up to 205. Let's see if I do more because everybody's okay with having more bedrooms and more baths, right? So do the plus on the bedrooms and the baths and then go from there. Now, this is total baths. So you got full baths and half baths right here. You can also have, if you want the primary on the main. Something that you're going to notice is these aren't required fields all the time, and people are going to put the wrong information in or not put it in at all because they're lazy. So if we went primary on the main, it's going to drop down quite a bit. If you went to no, so 256 plus 319, what's that? 500 and something change. So there's some that's not in there at all. That's just left blank, as you can tell. Okay, so we've got this right here. And then square footage wise, again, we're going to use that range. So we're going to use 2,000 to, I'm going to say 4,000 because I don't want something crazy. All right, so now I'm down to 2,028 houses. Next up that we want to know is, somebody might want a garage. Again, if I only put one garage, I have 13. If I do two garages, I have 152. But if I do two plus garages, I gained four more properties off of that by adding that plus. So that's where I'm saying that you're going to be able to get some extra things going on. Year built. I don't want a really old house, so I'm going to go 2000 and plus. Make sure you add that plus or this is going to get off. So now we are down to 98 properties that are in Greensboro city limits that are under $500,000, that are plus bedrooms, 2 plus baths, that are 2,000 to 4,000 square feet, and year built is 2000 or newer. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't do. They won't change this right here. So then you start getting a lot of manufactured and modular homes and things like that. So now we hit stick built and we're going to do a house. Look, we drop down. So if somebody says, I want a townhouse, I can just look for townhouses or I can just look for a condo. Most agents have no clue and don't ever use the remarks or the clusters. A lot of people will put a modular in the site built ones, so it makes it a little bit harder. And this is just for your information. There's a lot of dumb agents out here. Just how it works. All right. Homeowner association, again, that's a lot like the master home main question. A lot of people's not going to answer it because they're lazy and they say that they're covering their ass, but they're really not. All right, so now I'm down to 70 properties, but here's what I wanted to show you. So if I look right here, there's my map of Greensboro, right? Now, the other way to do this is you can actually draw around it. So I can come in here and go like this. All right, I drew all the way around Greensboro. Now, I still have those 70 properties, right? And watch what happens if I take the city out. I just gained almost over double from doing that right there. Now, what I'm going to tell you is there's a lot of places in here that right on the cusp of different areas. So you've got the Summerfield area and Stokesdale and Oak Ridge. When somebody says that they want to live in Greensboro, they just want to live close to Greensboro usually. Sometimes people will know, but other people won't. So I would definitely go out and make these map changes. So even if I came in here and went delete, hold on, I'm going to do another one just to tighten it up and see what we get. Because I bet you I get a little bit of Jamestown here. So I made it even tighter. And let's look at my search results. Citywise, see, I picked up a High Point property right there because it was right on the city limits. McLeansville properties, things like that. So if you were searching for a certain area, a certain school district, all these kinds of things, do not, I repeat, do not use the criteria modes because agents are lazy. And I'm going to show you the perfect example of that right now. All right, so I'm going to delete this. So over here in Davie County, this is all one high school area. Okay. So if I came in here and I did the county as Davie County, I have 34 matches, right? That meets that. Now watch what happens if I do the school. Should be 34 of the exact same high schools. Ignore my high school button. Oh, there it is. All right. So if I go to Davie County, because there's, like I said, there's only one. I don't even know if it's going to pop up. 15. Half the agents did not put that it was in Davie County high school area. Why? I have no clue. That's the only place that it could be. If it's in Davie County, there's only one high school. So if you're searching by school, subdivision, city, anything that could be a checkbox, things like that, anything that an agent can be lazy off of, don't do it that way. And a pro tip, if you're watching this as a seller, make sure your agent has it completely filled out. Because if not, you're losing some of these people that are searching that way. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to go back to our Greensboro properties. Okay, so we pulled up our Greensboro properties. We've got our 70 to look from right here. All right, so this is going to be our subdivisions. So let's go from here. You see all the different subdivision ones, and they should be in there, but look it up. There's a couple nuns that wouldn't show up, things like that. Now, we usually go by active because we don't really want to show anything else. So if you're wondering, at least in the Triad MLS, there's active, coming soon, due diligence, pending AB, which means that it's under contract, but they're accepting a backup offer, and then pending. Now, what's the difference between due diligence, pending AB? Due diligence means they're in that period where they're doing their inspections. It could fall through. Home appraisal is going to happen, things like that. The pending process means that deal's probably done. It could fall through, but if you're really interested in a property, your buyer missed out on it, I would watch the DD ones or ask people, say, hey, how are you in the DD period? And they'll say, oh, we haven't got our inspections back. Or, oh, we're looking a little shaky. They're asking for some crazy repairs. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. Pending AB means like they probably accepted an offer that's contingent on the sale of the buyer's property, things like that. And so those are ripe for the picking. Now, with pending AB, you are in second position, meaning that you cannot just get the property. It means that if the first deal falls through, whether it's they can't get a loan, can't sell the property, things like that, didn't get their job moved, then they're going to terminate with the first person and you get it to be in first position. It's a good way to be a backup offer. It's pretty much what it comes down to it. But don't put your heart's desires on those kinds of properties. All right, so we've got all these different properties. What are some other things that I'm going to look for right here? Well, whenever I am sitting on here, like I said, I hit the search and I'm on that single line one. All right, so the agent single line sitting right here shows me all the properties. If you click right here, this will take you to the map of where it sits at. So in case you don't know the area, you can zoom in, you can do whatever you need to with it. And I got to find my mouse. Where'd it go? All right. And so I can see where that property is sitting, how much it is. If you click right here, this gives you the MLS listing. And this is going to give you just the photos. So it's just going to pop photos up right here. So I can browse through the photos right there. Beautiful house. Does that fit my needs? Yes. Click off of it. No. All right. So I'm going to click on the MLS number right here. So the MLS number is the way that you're going to see all of the big information right here: square footage, your build, who owns it, tax card information, all that fun stuff. There is the dimensions of the rooms that are usually somewhat important to a lot of different buyers. Tells you what kind of parking. Is there a bathroom in the master bath? That's what an in-suite suite is. In-suite bathroom suite. And the types of heating and cooling. Again, you can put those in your regular search. I wouldn't suggest it because of, again, lazy agents. How to get there, their upgrades, HOA information if they have one, how much it is, all that fun stuff. This is all the big details of the property. This is what most people are used to seeing. Now, here's a pro tip. If you're sitting here and you want to show this to a client, give them one of these. If you go to client brief, watch what it changes. Like this is every single property that was listed in there, and it's just the remarks, the directions of how to get there, and the most important stuff. There's no dimensions, there's no anything else. If you went to client full, you've got a little bit more information, but not everything as much. So I look at the agent fulls because that's the easiest way for me to look at everything. And that's what I've been doing for forever ago. All right, so I've looked at all these properties. Now let's just say I'm going to click on a couple of them and I want to make a list of things that I like. So I'm going to go over and look at another one. I don't like that one. I like this one. I like this one. All right, let's just say we got three here. Now, what can you do to make it seem a little bit easier on you? So instead of you're sitting here, I went back to that single line report. I can email from right here. But let's just say I want to narrow it down and look a little bit more on this. If you hit refined right here and hit narrow, I've narrowed down those properties just to those three. On the opposite end, if I hit discard, it only takes out the one that I clicked off of. So either way that you want to do it, or you can hit undiscard. All right, so now I've got these three properties and I'm like, I want to show somebody how much they're worth or whatever it is. I can do CMA stuff, quick CMA. Going to pop up right here. And this would tell you, compare everything in a single line of the list price versus how many days on market it is. So it gives you a little bit more information just in a straight line. This is almost like an Excel spreadsheet for listings. Other things that you can do right here is if I click showing time, I've got those 3 properties pulled up. I can put in all my information, add to showing cart, and I can show properties sitting right there. Share link would be if you want to share it with the client, directions the exact same way. And so that's sort of where it's at. Now, let's just say that you want to look at the back history off of a property. Has it been listed? What's the listing activity off of it? Things like that. Wow, there's a history button. Click right here. Photo button's going to take you this one, and this is going to do the exact same thing. There's that. There's that. All right. To history. This is whenever it went on the market from whenever it was listed as coming soon. Pretty crazy. Other things that you can do is you can see your addendums right here. So this shows your homeowner's addendums, the material facts, just the regular flyer, that kind of stuff. And then all these other ones, I don't use most of them. Showing time if you want to schedule just one of them, but I do use this tax card information because a lot of times somebody put like owner's name withheld whenever you're trying to write up an offer on a property, or they didn't fill out the legal description. Let's see if this one's got the legal description on it. It does. They did a good job on this listing. All right, but I'm going to come in here. Let's just pretend like they didn't. There's the owner's name. Let's see if it matches. It does. All right. And then we'd go down here. So I've got all my tax information, what subdivision it's in. This is the PIN numbers and PID numbers, the legal description. And down here, let's just say I want to be nosy, and yeah, it doesn't really matter. Don't look at these rental trends and score indicators and all that fun stuff. So this property's been listed for 74 days, hasn't changed in price. This is where they bought the land to build the property. So if they had a mortgage, it would be sitting right here. It tells you the last history, and then there's a property map. If you want to look at comparables of properties in the neighborhood, there you go. That would show you. My little thing's not showing as much, but that's where you go. And then your neighbors would show you who lives around it, how much they paid, all that fun stuff. Works really well for certain houses, certain neighborhoods. All right, so we're back here. I've looked at all these. I want to email this to me. I want to email this to my client. So I'm going to go here, email, put in their information. I'm just going to send this directly back to myself. Or you can also do that is BCC yourself in there, your subject, your body, things like that. Right? Seems like I'm just sending 3 listings. Great. Not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is actually hit the print button. I don't know why whoever made this. Quite dumb. All right, so I'm going to go back to that single line right here. I want to have my agent full if I'm sending it to myself. If not, I'm going to do the client full for them. I want to have the photos. I want to have a map to show them where the property is located. And that CMA if I want to. I have to. And then I just hit email from here. Now I've attached all 4 of those little reports and displays and everything else, and then I can send it to myself right here. Justin Owens. All right, there you go. And then just send it. You cannot put an attachment in here. Yeah, it sucks. I know. You can in other MLSs, but not in the Matrix. Other things you might want to see is, I'm going to go back. Let's say you know the MLS number of a property. You can go right here. This hot bar right here. You go like this. Bam. And it's going to pull it directly up. And that's anywhere all the time. It's just sitting right here. You can also search for a home. So if a client says, I found a house and I love it, it's 446 Lachlan Avenue. It's for sale. No, it's not, sir. There it is. So you can look up a home real quick off of that search bar, and these do move. So like I move mine around. So if I have my alerts there, I can move it over here. I can do whatever I want to. This tells you how many office listings you have, depending on where you're at. Your info spark stats right here, you know, the ones that y'all share that nobody actually wants to read, whichever one it is. All the fun stuff over here, zip forms, yada, yada, yada. So that is my walkthrough of how to use the Matrix MLS the best way possible. If you want more walkthrough videos like this, subscribe, drop a comment below with your next how do I question, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Thanks for watching. Dustin over here at Mantle Realty.